Seriously? How do you get stuck right there? Come on, you buzzards. Come on. Yeah, quit fanning at me.
All operators are busy at this time. Please hold.
Alright guys, welcome back to the shop for another video. You can see we got a first gen Sequoia up on the lift today, so we got a massive power steering leak we're going to show you, and this week has just been crazy, you guys. I did finish one of the wheels, one of the Escalade wheels for the Mazda B2000, so if you haven't seen the process on us kind of going through these used wheels, they're extremely rough. I'm going to do a whole video just on the process of doing the remaining three now that I got one done, so we'll kind of show you before and after. This week has been wild, you guys. Minnesota, North Dakota, we got another snowstorm, and it's April. It's April, you guys, and this set me back about 2 days. We got this to do. You saw that giant conversion van that has proved to be kind of a challenge. Doesn't hold a charge, can't move out of a simple parking spot, and then the turkeys were driving me nuts this morning. So, I don't know, you guys. I'm really sick of this winter stuff. I got here this morning, and the door was all snowed in from the plow again. I just moved all the snow right after the storm, so it's been a lot of fun. I'm going to show you this leak. The first thing we got to do is clean it up, so I'll show you how bad it is and what a rat's nest of lines you get when you order this from Toyota. Alright, so bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to shine some light on the subject. You can see that's just from me pulling it in. I haven't even taken anything apart yet. That's all power steering fluid. That's all power steering fluid. And this is the mess of lines that you get from Toyota. You actually get like every single line that's in the system. We look up inside the car and you can see that there's a ton of leakage going on. That being said, the first thing I'm going to do is clean it up. So I got my Chemical Guys sprayer I use for my details, and I actually just have it filled with Dawn dish soap and water. So we're going to try to get a lot of this fluid off. Then we're going to come back with some brake clean, rinse it all off. Contrary to popular belief, I don't like to get super dirty, so we're going to try to get it as dry and clean as possible before we have to start taking these lines out. So we got everything on here kind of sprayed off. You can see the rack right there. I'm going to try to get a mix of doing this job as efficiently as possible, but also showing you a few key parts. So here is our new line here. Obviously those two ends go in the gear right there, so we got to get those off. But one thing that is noteworthy, look right here. See how these two lines, these are hard lines for the power steering. See how they're rubbing? If I pull it apart, you can see all the paint is stripped off. So potentially that could cause a leak. In most instances, you would have one of these rubber grommets around the line there. So there isn't any on these new ones, and these could be bent. I'm not really sure. These normally go on these types of brackets here, but if these are going to rub in the same spot, we'll end up putting a piece of hose or something around one of the lines just to prevent any issues like that. All right, so we got the lines off of the rack, and then if we follow them up, they go over the rack, and then let's see if you can see right there. See that rusty bolt right there? Right there? That's a bracket holding these lines in, and then it goes under that motor mount and up around to the other side. Stay in there. Woohoo! Ah, damn it. Well, we got it out. That was fun. My lovely girlfriend got me this stool from her sweet, sweet grandma. So I try to keep it nice. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but power steering lines will not defeat me. All right, so we got that power steering line on the Sequoia wrapped up, and Toyota sells that whole thing as an assembly. I still get a pretty good deal on Toyota parts, and even my cost on that line was $610. Granted, it's a whole assembly. Let me go grab it really quick and show you. I know you saw it earlier, but it's a big mess of lines, right? So Toyota sells that all as one piece, and I have tried to install aftermarket lines on some of those Toyotas for power steering systems, and it's just one of those things, guys. Racks and power steering lines on Toyotas, you just don't want to go aftermarket. Literally one time at the dealer, I put an aftermarket line in because we had to wait like 3 days to get the Toyota one on the same vintage Sequoia, and my coworker with the bay right next to me had a first gen Tundra, so essentially the same thing. He also got an aftermarket line, and we both ended up taking them out and putting Toyota ones in anyway, just because they didn't seal right. I don't know if it's how they machine it or what the deal is, but they were junk. So anyway, we're able to get that customer out the door. We got the Super Duty in here. We're going to take you along, do a detail on this for Fargo Auto Exchange, and then I'm going to bring over the wheels and show you. I got one of the Escalade wheels done. You might have seen the short. If you haven't, go check it out. It's a crazy transformation. These wheels are super, super rough. I got them dirt cheap. They're super rough, and I just kind of wanted a project, you know, wanted the challenge, wanted to see if I could do it. So we're going to make a full-length video on that still, showing the whole process on the other 3 wheels. So I'm going to set you guys up, get started on this detail, show you a few new tools that we got for the detailing side of the business. So yeah, let's go. All right, guys, so it is the next day. It's Saturday, and it's a beautiful day here in Minnesota. This is the first day this year that we've been able to have the shop door open, so I'm super thankful for that. We've just been plugging away on this Super Duty detail. As you could see from a few of those other clips, it was very, very dirty, so I didn't film absolutely everything. You just saw some action with the Bissell Little Green, and I had mentioned earlier that we had some detail equipment that I wanted to kind of introduce. One of them is this Hart carpet extractor. You can see that right there. It is about the same idea as my Bissell Little Green, and I'm going to do a dedicated video when I get a good set of carpeted floor mats comparing the two machines, because they're very similar but they're very different. So that Bissell is about 120 bucks. This guy I got on sale on Walmart's website for $59, which is a massive value. Seems to be built really, really well. I actually bought this just as a backup. These little extractors obviously aren't as powerful as like a Mighty Light or an Aquavac or anything like that, but the reason I like them is because when you're doing details and you're working mobily, which I do sometimes, especially now with the dealership that I'm working with, sometimes he has cars that are taken apart and I go to his shop and clean them while they're undrivable. This Hart machine, again, I'm going to do a comparison video with my Bissell Little Green, but they're very different. Let's go over and just check it out, and I'll tell you what the big difference is and why I use them on different occasions. All right, so here we have the Hart machine, and side note, I'm not a big Chemical Guys fan, but I picked up one of these pump sprayers because then you're not sitting there doing this the whole time, and this has actually been super awesome. I think it was like 30 bucks, somewhere around there. Pretty well made, heavy duty plastic, holds pressure really nice, so I would recommend that product from them. Back to this guy though. So this is the Hart carpet extractor. Oddly enough, this looks just like the Huber version of a little carpet cleaner extractor, whatever you want to call it. Hart is made specifically for Walmart, and it is a division of TTI, which is also the manufacturer of Ryobi and Milwaukee. And I didn't notice this before, but look at the logo. Hart actually got started in the 80s making framing hammers, and that's a hammer and a nail, so never noticed that before. That's kind of cool. So like I said, I bought this primarily as a backup because this and the Little Green, they're home grade machines, so they're not going to be like super durable, and I wanted a backup because the Little Green sometimes would clog up. I've had to take apart the nozzle, clean it, repair it a few times. I wanted a backup so I wasn't dead in the water. But this Hart guy, a couple things I do really like about it. The plastics, everything about it is better built than my Bissell. I've dropped this, I've dropped the Bissell, and I'm not as nervous about dropping this one. It does have a hose cleaning feature where you can plug this into the back of the machine and clean out your hose, which is nice. The tanks are kind of small, and this thing puts out a lot more water. I'd say at least twice as much water as the Bissell, which is nice on stuff like carpets. You know, the whole point of an extractor is because you want to saturate the area to pull the stains out. So that's not a bad thing. Runs out of water pretty quick. And then my biggest gripe is that this nozzle, when it sprays the water, it sprays it like over here. On my Bissell, it sprays it close to the brush, and the Bissell also has a little bit smaller head. So when I'm doing stuff like seats, I go for the Bissell because I can get around corners and stuff a lot easier, and it's going to put the water where I want it. When I'm doing floors and carpets and stuff like that, this is my go-to. It has way more suction power, and it produces more water, so it just does the job a little bit more efficiently. All right, so you can see it's a mess outside, but we're gonna dump the tank out here because we actually can finally. That is what we pulled out of the seats. So these little machines aren't as powerful, and they don't have hot water, which most of the time you don't need anyway, but you can see that it does work, and that's nasty. Again, this was a work truck, so we're just gonna take it over to the puddle and make our contribution. All right, so the seats and fabric still might look spotty because they're still drying, but we did chemical, drill brush agitation, steam, and then extracted them. So those should look really good. They were really dirty. You're not going to get every single stain out on this new kind of tight weave felty fabric here, so I will come back to this spot with a steamer and see if we can get that out. But you can see this is really nasty in here. So this truck also is a work truck model, meaning that it has just the rubber floor. There's no carpet anywhere, and this stuff is a pain in the butt. So we already put chemical down, drill brushed, and then wiped it all clean and steamed it. And then when it dries, you can see all the dirt that's still left over. So I'm gonna let my chemical sit. You can see it's wet once again, and we're gonna attack this cup holder. So what I like to do on cup holders and hard plastic stuff like this is my citrus cleaner that I make. Cuts through stuff really nice, especially with steam, so we'll put a little of that in there. And then this is also a cleaner that I make. Put a little of that on. Don't worry about oversaturating plastic here. And then we're gonna take this tough stuff, which I really like if you're gonna use a detail brush to agitate, because it kind of hangs in one spot, suds up really nice, so we're gonna spray that on here. Again, we're gonna wipe all this down, so it doesn't matter if it gets too wet. We're on a roll today. Super Duty detail is done, and we got this 3/4 ton van back in the shop. I just finished up the drum brakes on this side. Now I'm gonna go do the other side. I always leave one side of your drum brakes together. That way, if you have any reference questions on all the springs, all that kind of stuff, obviously you can look at the other side. Reasons people hate drum brakes. They're drum brakes. But truth be told, this van is actually pretty cool. I'm not going to show you the inside of it just yet because the customer is actually making like a VANLIFE camper van out of this thing, and he's going to take a trip to Colorado. So I'm going to talk to him once he picks it up and see if maybe he'd swing back once he's done, because I'm really interested to see how this thing turns out. It's a 3/4 ton van. It's actually in really good shape. So we're doing drum brakes and then that throttle body injection gasket. The cool thing is it's an old van, The crappy thing is you have to work on an old van. So I'm going to button up the other side of the brakes, then we're going to finally show you the wheels and talk about that project coming up for the B2000. All right, so we got the drum brakes on the van back together finally, and I always on this channel try to be transparent, and I think that's one of the cool things about YouTube is, you know, you watch something on TV and it's like it might be entertaining, but it's not, you know, it's acting, right? It's acting unless you're watching the news or something like that. So I'll admit that if you go back to the previous clip where I stuck up my middle pinky just to keep it G-rated, but if you go back to that clip, you'll notice something wrong. Like I said, any set of drum brakes is too many, but when you do the exact same set twice, I made a mistake. So I took the hardware kit out of the bag, I took the shoes out of the box, and it must be an aftermarket thing because I've never seen a set of shoes where all the holes and everything are exactly the same on all four shoes. So I put it together, right? Yeah, so the other side drum would not go on, and I'm like, what's going on here? I adjust the star wheel. Finally, I maxed out the star wheel to as in as it could go, and I'm like, something's, and then it dawned on me. I put both the lead shoes on one side, both the trailing shoes on the other side. So I had a mini meltdown. I spared you guys that. So I didn't make you watch that, but I made a mistake. So this was the second time I did the drum brakes on this van. So anyway, with that, let's get you over to the Cadillac wheels and show you what's going on with that project. I almost forgot, we got a new Rock Auto magnet for the wall. Rock Auto wall. Can we appreciate this for a second though? Like, I tried it. Let's be honest though, why would you put this on your collector series magnets? Like, I don't understand this at all. Don't you normally do something cool? Like, I'd be embarrassed if I was Rock Auto or the owner of this car. Like, come on. All right, so first we're gonna show you the set of wheels that's gonna go on the B2000. We'll show you the ones that aren't done. I got 3 left. You can see the chrome is peeling off, and we got some really, that's corrosion right there. Look at that. We got some really nasty wheels. But we turned one of these wheels that was just like this into this. So how do we do it? We're going to have a whole step-by-step video on this. But one thing that was kind of interesting is we experimented. Originally, I wanted to get as close to this chrome finish as possible, and we found out it wasn't possible. So here's an original cap. This one's not touched, and you can see I'm going to have to redo these two. That's an original center cap. This one was a chrome paint I put on with a Rust-Oleum clear, and then to strip it back, I used oven cleaner with lye in it. So strip that all right off, and we'll talk about the clear that we actually used on the wheels. But this was another one, and this was a chrome paint, and when you put clear on it, it just doesn't stay very chrome. But this is a 2K clear, so this one actually got oven cleaner just like this, and this is all the damage the oven cleaner did. This one corner, but look at that. This all looks really good still, considering there was oven cleaner on it like that. So we'll talk about this clear, but we got the wheel to look like that. I'll flip you guys around one more time and talk about some of these chrome paints a little bit on my tower of rotors here that we tried. One thing that I did use, which I've used before on the channel, is 2K clear from Spray Max. This has a hardener in it. You pop the bladder, shake it up really good, and it's essentially a professional grade clear coat in a can. So that is what went on this hubcap that got doused in oven cleaner and really did not do a whole lot to it. That could have been prep, honestly. I was just testing colors, so that easily could have been prep. But the wheels turned out really good. I'll get you a close-up of that. So I'll flip you around, show you all of the colors that we tested. All right, so if you look at the tower of rotors, first we tried this Duplicolor, then the Rust-Oleum chrome, then just a chrome from Rust-Oleum that was kind of like a 2X color. We ended up going with this because none of the chromes, they did look really good when they were uncleared, but obviously these are wheels, we want clear coat on them, and they didn't turn out very good with the clear. It just kind of took away the sheen. So I did end up using this guy, just a metallic Rust-Oleum, and the wheel turned out really nice. Now, again, transparency, there are spots in the right light where you can see, but they're going to look really good on the car. And what I did to hide some of the imperfections, because I had to use an epoxy to fill some of my grind spots and some of the corrosion spots, I mixed this and then I dusted on some hammered paint. So that's how I hid the imperfections, kind of a little paint trick. So you can kind of see the hammered finish in there, but I thought they turned out really well. All right, guys, so as always, thanks for tuning in for another video. Kind of all over the place, a little bit of mechanical repairs, a little wheel update, a little detail action, a little failure with these drum brakes. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, comment with any questions or concerns down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out. Drop a like up on this video, and as always, guys, we'll see you next time.